Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long was 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long was 1975.
This is Big Run on the Atari ST, released by the Sales Curve, but developed by Storm, or so I believe, in 1990. It was also released on the Amiga. There were no other ports of it on the Micros. There is a Super NES, or probably Super Famicom, I don't think it came out on the Super NES version of it, which was nothing to do with these guys, which was released in 1991. Obviously, this is based on the arcade machine of the same name. Hey, this was released in 1991, I take it back. Based on the arcade machine of the same name, released by Jaleco in 1989, which is a super scaler and an insanely impressive one at that. It's easily as impressive and as good as anything, any of the stuff that Sega did. Just look it up, it's fantastic. I have a gameplay of it on MAME running on my OG Xbox, and it struggles with it in places, like there are graphical glitches, but for the most part, if you look at that video, you'll see that how genuinely impressive this game is. Now, since I very recently played Cisco Heat on the Amiga, I thought I'd play this, but this isn't the Amiga version, you say, Dave. No, you're right, it's not on my Super Console X, and it doesn't run properly on my A500 Mini. So, we're going to play the Atari ST version, because I like playing a bunch of Atari ST games now. I know how to get some of them to work. It's got alright music. I will say that. It's got alright music. I've not actually played it yet. I don't know what reviews it's got on the ST, but on the Amiga, I think it got like 86% in one of the Commodore magazines. Anyway, don't know how to put more credit in. I'm assuming that's the only credit we have, because even though this is an arcade port, they don't let you put credit in on the Micros. I mean, that's just stupid. So, let's get into it. Just in case you forgot what game you play. It's very brown. Right, so look, you start in Tunis and you end up in Tozua. So I thought it was from Tripoli to West Africa. I don't know. It's a loading screen. I'll let it off. This has no chance to do the arcade justice. Right, time top left, rank top right. I'm 8, there are only 8 cars. Gears bottom left. Your car sprites dandy, I will say that. The roads are well sharp when it comes to the corners. The undulations are right, there's crap on the road. It is a rally after all. I just got wicked air. Ooh. Hey, do you damage? This reminds me of that game on the PC Engine where you do damage, which looks like this, hence it reminds me of it, but is not this. It's not the best looking racer on the Amiga, but it's certainly Amiga, Atari ST, but it's certainly not the worst. I can't get the Lotus games to run. Well, they run, they just don't recognise the joystick. I'm doing that to change down to make it easier on the corners. Like every racing game, they come off far better than you when you hit them. Where's the checkpoint? This is brutal. The houses are there. Ooh. Fire. Yeah, it's not the worst, it's not the best. Your car sprites are lovely. I'm huge. I'm bigger than my car. Is it Tozur or is it calling me a tosser? What? Press fire to start. I don't even know what happened now other than they tried to inject comedy into it. And I don't know if it's go as far as to say it worked. Loading times aren't bad, are they? Apparently, according to the start of this game, it's got expanded memory. So also it's a 1040 game or something? Right, so it's telling us different now. Now it's Toza to Tuma. Right, so that was the one stage. Got it. Got it. So what I said was, you know, Tripoli to West Africa was right. How are you even supposed to get anywhere on that start? Because you just immediately hit the car in front of you. Right. I was trying to avoid him. The corners are too sharp. Oh! We've got your car sprite is lovely. We got directions. We got expanded tracks. Oh, is it not? They're not going off in different directions. That's a bit weird. Interesting for a racing game. Because obviously, normally it's just branching paths. There's just rocks in the middle of the road. Holy sh! Speaking of rocks in the middle of the road. Oh, it does change you down. That's ever so unfair. But how... That's brutal. How are you supposed to avoid them? Before you say, well, you steer left and right, Dave, like any other driving game. Look at them. You're not going to see much. This game is brutal. Oh look, dust bunnies. Shouldn't it be an upper and lower deck? It's been ages since I played the arcade game. This is brutal. I was reasonably enjoying it right at the start. Yeah, look. There's an upper and lower. Do you know what? I mean, instead of low. It's attempting. It's attempting to do the arcade. I'm quite impressed with that. Would I say they're pulling it off? Not so much. But they're trying it. And that's the important thing. Everybody gets a participation medal. Oh, I don't even want to look at my time. I'm scared, hold me. We've lost all the opponent cars. I'm not worrying about them. Maybe I am just going for my participation medal. Look at this. It feels like I'm in low, but I'm not. I just checked. Oh, I am now, because that's how you deal without having to brake. Holy shit. Does that even count? I'm 8th. It's a rally. I don't know. Is that why I look so disappointed? I look like Pepsi Man. Hard luck. Rank does not qualify for next stage. And why is she grey? And where's the bird this feather came from? Game over. This is brutal. I like the fact that they were attempting to do the arcade game. It was clearly too much for them. The track is too cramped. You know, especially when they're opponent cars, you can't avoid the shit in the middle of the road. Your time limit is especially brutal. The music's jolly though, isn't it? We can take that as a positive. Here's some jolly tunes to remind you that you suck. Heart. Oh, probably shouldn't have to put that, because apparently if you put hearts or X's on emails these days, then you'll get sued for sexual harassment. Because everyone's a fucking woke Me Too princess. How do I end? I have to type the entire fucking thing in. Try that again. You're not going to see much. I have played it on the Amiga on my A500 Mini, and it runs incredibly too fast. Actually, no, it doesn't run too fast. It just butchers the sound. But this is pretty much the same, I would say. Oh, forgot to press start there on the big brown screen. Well, yeah, so Tunis to Tozur is the first stage. And look, there's the 2 rivers we'll be crossing. It's like real life. I would say at this point, it's not the same people, but I was probably enjoying playing Cisco Heat on the Amiga, which is obviously the other Jaleco sprite scanner, more than I'm playing this. And that was shite. I am 7th. See, look, even by, you know, racing game standards on these systems, look at this, the road is super fucking cramped. It was never this cramped in the arcade. You know, home port on an incredibly underpowered machine compared to the arcade, or not, it doesn't need to be this cramped. There's that raised platform I was talking about. That's why I thought it was just poorly rendering the track until I saw the white bits. So, you know, the last time I played this before I'd failed to qualify. It's not. It is attempting to do that from the start. Go on the drink. Why can't I make it round corners? You had one job, car. One job. Tiny houses for tiny dancer. Well, I made it with a credit, but I don't count, do I? But that's why she falls over, because we don't qualify. Because hilarious comedy ensues. It's another one of those games. She looks like the T1000. It's another one of those games on the Amiga that looks fine when it's stationary. Mainly because of how big your car sprite is. And how good your car sprite is. I mean, if we can take a positive from it, your car sprite is lovely. It's just the minute you try and employ it in a sort of direction, it goes to tits. Loading times aren't terrible though. I'll take that. Right, so how are we supposed to do every other car's a Peugeot? Oh, they're not 205s, are they 405s? Like the MI16 or whatever it was. I'm going to try it with brake now. But the thing is, it takes too much speed off you. Well, fuck, how the hell? Look, that's cool. Car on the other side of the rocks. With no noticeable slowdown. Until he hit me, the bastard. Should I just follow him? He clearly knows the way through, doesn't he? I love the fact that computer cars make no fucking mistakes on shit like this. Whereas because of how, you know, software scaling works, tiny, you know, rock in the background, medium-sized rock, big fucking rock in your face. Oh! And he's still on. Is he still on? Yes. No. I understand that's not the way to do it, but honestly, it's easier than braking. It seems more effective than braking. Chuck it into low. Bollocks. If you were a fan of the arcade back in the day, would you have been happy with this? You probably would have. Because even back then you knew that you weren't getting anything like the arcade. And you could argue, as poor as this is, at least it's, you know, it's completely different from other races on the ST, with the fact that there's all this shit in the middle of the road, and you never got Enduro Racer, which is the only other game I can think of, sprite scaler, that has all this shit in the middle of the road. Yeah. Rank does not qualify for... That's because you're too fucking hard. What are the S's in the bottom right hand corner? Stages? I don't know. Go on, skip to the end. Tumu Agadez. Is this the next stage? I can't remember what the last stage was. I'm going to have to fire this up on my A500 Mini. So it's letting me progress then? What? Is this hacked? I don't know. Even though it's going to butcher me with the sound effects, I need to know how this runs on that. I'm going to assume it runs pretty similar to this. So it does let you go to the next stage, even though your comedy girlfriend falls over because you're not good enough, and hilarity ensues. Oh. And we're in Browntown. Like I said, stationary, it looks lovely. But it's trying to punch a little bit too hard above its weight. There are some interesting ideas that obviously come from the arcade that it had no right to do, or has no right to be able to do, and it doesn't, to be fair, but we weren't expecting it to. But, I mean, when the road's this big, it's alright, you stand a chance. It's just, when all that shit's in the middle of the road, and the corners are so extreme, particularly the shit in the middle of the road though, it just literally just goes, you know, boom, boom, bang in your face. And look at this, how the small the road is here. You don't stand a fucking chance. All that. It's like driving around a country lane where I live, and someone decides to stick traffic cones in the middle, and you have to drive on either side. Which you're not going to be able to do because the road's so fucking small. Like I said, it's not the worst, you know, racing game I played on the 16 bits. but it's certainly not the best. And also it's got that huge problem where you have to hold up and steer at the same time, which is turning my hand into a fucking claw at the moment with cramp. Come on. Hey! Come on then, comedy girlfriend, do your thing. 'Cause it never gets old. What's wrong with her colour? Unless she's got sunblock caked on. There you go, big run on the Atari ST. Nah, played worse, played better. Worth a go if you fancy the arcade machine at home. As always though, I'd love to know what you think, especially if you played this back in the day, and thank you very much for watching. I made it, what, halfway then? I never qualified. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.